This meeting is being recorded.
All right. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, from wherever it is that you're joining us from, or even good morning, just in case you're joining us from a country that's hours away from us here in Lagos, Nigeria. My name is Tonya Ladeji, and I'm super excited to welcome you to another wonderful edition of the Women Techsters Open Day event. Yes, we're super excited. This is the eighth Open Day in this year, in the year 2023, and we are super excited to have amazing set of beautiful ladies here with us to discuss their career journey, how it has been through for them, the challenges they face, the lessons they have, and the things they just want to pass along to women that are dreaming to come into tech and work the parts of technology, right? So we want to get to meet each and every one of you that are joining us on this call, and we want you to make use of the chat box to introduce yourself. So it's pretty much simple. We just want you to drop your name and where it is you're joining us from. So you can tell me your name and what country it is you're joining us from, and something you hope to achieve from today's webinar. What do you want to learn? What do you hope? Do you have questions that you want to get answers to? So we want to get to know you. So let's get to meet people from different countries. So my name is Tony Oladiji. I'm joining you from Lagos, Nigeria. So let me get to meet other people. I'll be here reading your chat box just to find out where it is you're joining us from. We're super excited to meet you. Alright, please confirm if applicants can use the chat box just so we know that there's no restrictions from our own end. All right,
Hi, yes.
Shakira from Uganda. Nice to meet you. Yeah, I can see them turning on now. So let me know what it is that you want to learn, why you joined the Open Day. Do you have questions you hope to answer? Do you need clarity on your tech journey? Are you already in the tech space, right? So drop your questions, drop your names and where you're joining us from. Let's get to meet you. So we have Caroline from Kenya. It's a pleasure to meet you. We have Obelema joining from Port Harcourt. We have Fumilayo from Lagos. We have Hilda from Akwa Ibom. Nigerian people will most likely just think about Hilda Bashi right now. All right, nice to meet you, Hilda. Judy from Kenya. So great to meet you. So keep it coming, ladies. Let me get to meet you, get to know where you're coming from. While the introduction is ongoing, I'd like to run you through the agenda of today's webinar. What are the things that you expect to gain from today's webinar? So just immediately after this introduction, I'll be handing over to the Women Techsters Programs Lead here at Tech for Dev in person of Blessing Ashi. She'll be walking you through the should be giving you an opening remark just to welcome you and let you know what the Women Techsters Open Day is all about. And shortly after that, we'll be having a welcome address by Yemisi. Yemisi is on the call. You also get to meet Yemisi, and she'll be giving us a short welcome address. And then after one of our programs in specific, it's called Women Techsters Fellowship, we'll share that video and it's a very insightful video. I'm sure that you're going to learn a lot from the video. And then we'll read out the bios of the speakers that we have today and we'll go straight into the fireside chat and then we'll take your questions, of course. So let me just read out a couple of introductions from Mokigo and then we'll hand over to Blessing Ashi. Hi Tawakalitu from Nigeria. It's a pleasure to meet you. Hi Anada from South Africa. Hi Sarah from Nigeria. Hi Vivian from Lagos, Nigeria. Henrietta from Nigeria. Scholar from Kenya. Meg from Kenya. We've got a lot of Kenyan ladies on the call, and I'm super excited to meet each and every one of you. Hi Nabil from Algeria. Hi Chiamaka from Lagos. Hi Omojola from Lagos, Nigeria. Um, Odunayo, it's a pleasure to meet you from Lagos, Nigeria also. It's a pleasure to meet you, Mary. Um, it's a pleasure to meet each and every one of you. So our time is fast spent for introduction. I mean, we've exhausted over 5 minutes. So let's get straight into it. Right about now, I'll be handing over to Blessing Ashi. Blessing Ashi is the Women Texas Programs Lead for the Women Texas Initiative. She'll be giving us a brief opening remark and then handing over to Yemisi Arushafe, who is going to be giving us her welcome address. Hi, Blessing. Over to you.
Hi everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, because I'm not sure where you're joining us from. I'm excited to be here again. My name is Blessing. I lead the Women Techsters Initiative here at Tech for Dev. I'd like to welcome every one of you welcome all ladies for joining us from wherever you're joining us from, all over the globe. Before I continue, I'd like to say a very big thank you to all of our speakers today. Thank you for taking out taking out time from your very busy schedule to be here. It means a whole lot to us, and it means a whole lot to the women who are here, wanting to learn about how they can progress and how they can proceed with their choice of delving into tech. And for some people who probably already have a job and are looking to transition into a tech role, we strongly believe that your presence here today is going to be is a step in the right direction for them. And so we'd like to say a very big thank you to you for joining us. I'm sure my colleague, while she's giving the remarks from the executive director, will be able to say a deeper thank you. I'm also excited today because this is the last open day for the academic year 2022-2023. It's been an amazing year, and it's been a year of getting to um, get women join us every month to learn about how they can start their careers. And it's also been an amazing year getting to get speakers from the different parts of the world to join, and speak about different career opportunities in tech as well. So I am very excited, and I'm sure that my team members are also excited as well. So everyone who has joined us from wherever you have joined us, trust me, you are in the right place. I know for some people, you probably somebody sent the link to you to register, and you're wondering, why do I have to register? Wait, all up. I'm sure that in the next few minutes and hours, you would really gain value for your time, and you'll be glad that you joined us. For some people who voluntarily, registered, maybe you stumbled on the link on a social media platform and you decided to register. Trust me, you are making a good decision. For some people who are looking to transition into a new role and you're wondering, am I making a good decision? Yes, you are in a place where you'll be learning how the decision you're making today by joining this open day is going to affect and affect you positively for the rest of your life. It's not a cliche statement, actually. I'm glad to be here. As we proceed, I would just like to quickly talk about the different initiative at Tech for Dev. I mean, maybe because I'm in love with women techsters, I can as well just speak about it. So this is the first step. You're here at Women Techsters Open Day. Aside from the Women Techsters Open Day, we also have the Women Techsters Bootcamp. The Women Techsters Bootcamp is a bootcamp that serves women within the ages of 16 to 40 years. And this bootcamp is every month. So after joining the program today, the next step is for you to sign up for the bootcamp. And then we also have the fellowship. Something huge is coming. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag, but for some people who have applied for the fellowship, something huge is going to eat you very soon. And so if you're here, I think after you join the bootcamp, fellowship is also a good place for you to start. And then we also have the master class. The master class focuses on women who already have tech skills within 6 months to like 4 5 years, where we get to bring speakers every month to speak within a particular learning track. So you see that Tech for Dev as an organization, we are very dedicated and committed to women development, and we're also very dedicated and committed to bridging the digital divide that exists between men and women. Hence why we have the programs that we do. And I should say this, that all of our programs at Tech for Dev are tuition free. So don't let anybody ask you to pay for anything. Everything at Tech for Dev is tuition free. All right. So for everyone who is on the call, I can see a lot of people are still joining. I usually will say this: you need a couple of things for your mission today to be successful. Number one, you need you and your mind. You can be here and not here. You may be tempted to check and scroll through your social media platform. Now it's not the best time to do that, so you don't miss out on the amazing things our speakers will be talking about today. So please ensure that you're here and your mind is here as well. You also may want to consider having another source of internet. Of course, don't be surprised. Anything can happen. so that in the case where there's a glitch, you can always switch your internet access and continue to listen to us. But in the case where something happens, not to worry, you also get recordings from this meeting, but we'd like you to stay on the call. And then the third thing that you need for you to be here is that you need a notepad. You remember that your mind can grasp but may not be able to grasp everything, and you may not be able to remember, so you need something to help you recall. So whatever it is you want to use, your notepad, your mobile device, make sure you're taking notes, make sure you ask questions where need be, use the chat box, use the Q&A session to ask questions. And trust me, we are here to serve you. Every woman on this call today is here to serve you, and we can't wait to welcome you on the other side. So I'll hand over back to Toyi. I'd like to say once again, thank you to our amazing, amazing speakers and moderator for today, and welcome on board. Enjoy your evening. Toyi, you're muted.
I had no idea. Thank you so much, Blessing. Yeah, that was a wonderful opening remark. So right about now, we'll be handing over to Yemisi for her welcome address. Yemisi is standing in the gap for our executive director, Laduro Oladipo. Hi, Yemisi. So good to have you.
Hi, Joy. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, from wherever you're joining us from today. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. Thank you to our esteemed guest speakers for joining us today. My name is Yemisi, and on behalf of our executive director, I would like to welcome each and every one of you to the session today. We're super excited to have you, wonderful women across Africa, join us today to learn about how to pursue your interests in technology. I'll especially like to also welcome you all as prospective women texters who have joined us today to learn about starting a career in tech through our Open Day program. I'll quickly run through some recent highlights from our Women Texters program. Please confirm that you can hear me clearly, Toyin, just to make sure that everybody can hear.
Yes, I can.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So last month we ran a call for application for the Women Texters Bootcamp cohort 2.7, and we received 4,800 plus applications from 15 African countries. After the screening process, the beneficiaries attended classes for 2 weeks, after which they had their project and demo day where they worked in teams to showcase their skills. And we're proud to announce that out of the 2,194 women we admitted, 1,222 completed the program. And last Friday, 25th of August, we successfully graduated 900 plus beneficiaries from the cohort 2.7 bootcamp. Since the inception of Women Texas Fellowship, we have recorded numerous success stories of women, mothers, daughters, wives, students, and workers who have defied the odds and paved a way for themselves in the ever-evolving technology space. As such, on 27th of April 2023, we opened the call for applications for the 2024 Women Texas Fellowship, which ran for 6 weeks and recorded a reach of over 122,000 plus women across Africa. After carefully reviewing 7,846 valid applications, we have successfully concluded the first and second stage of the application process, and a total of 2,508 applicants have advanced to the final stage of the application, which is the interview stage, which ended on the 25th of August. All these applicants will soon receive information about their status, and we cannot wait to meet the Women Texas Fellowship Class of 2024. Furthermore, this year, we launched into 7 new African countries, which in addition to our current 15 countries of operation, will sum up to 22 countries. These countries include Nigeria, Ghana, Ethiopia, Egypt, DR Congo, Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya, Madagascar, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Algeria, Sudan, Morocco, Angola, Mozambique, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Rwanda, Gambia, and Botswana. Women Texas is made possible through our organization Tech for Good. Tech4Dev is a non-profit organization that creates access to decent work and entrepreneurship opportunities and platforms for Africans through digital and technology skills, empowerment, and advocacy. Our vision is to equip Africans with digital and life skills that foster economic prosperity, financial freedom, and sustainable development. The Women Techsters is an initiative of Tech4Them that aims to bridge the digital divide between men and women in the technology ecosystem. Through our pilot program, Nigerian Women Techsters, we enabled almost 3,000 women between the ages of 16 to 40 across Nigeria over a 3-year period, ignite interest in pursuing careers and businesses in technology. Driven by the success stories of numerous women from the Nigerian Women Techsters program, like Fatima, Tommy, Patience, amongst many others, we carved a new ambition and dream to replicate this model across Africa, providing more women access to opportunities to launch careers and business in technology. Sorry, excuse me. Our dream by 2030 is to reach 5 million women in Africa by empowering them with the knowledge and skills to partake in the technology industry in Africa and the world at large. We believe that empowering change for women across Africa, as well as providing them opportunities to access employment and entrepreneurship opportunities, would help achieve a 50-50 male to female ratio balance in the technology space. The Women Techsters Open Day, which is the program that you're all here for, is a monthly virtual program organized for women across Africa to learn about leveraging the power of technology to start and advance their careers and create technology and technology-enabled businesses. The Open Day is an opportunity for women to interact with other successful women who have built careers or businesses in technology over the years and who will share their personal experiences, speak about possible career paths and business opportunities, and also help women appreciate the importance of acquiring digital and deep tech skills in this digital age. We appreciate our partners, Microsoft and Islamic Development Bank, for collaborating with us to bring this initiative to life over the last 1 year. And we look forward to continually impacting and improving the economic realities of women across Africa. I would like to once again appreciate everyone for being here today, to commence your journeys to becoming women in tech, and to say a very special thank you to our guest speakers, Purity, Sijesupemi, Kutluano, I hope I pronounced that correctly, and our moderator, Mercy, for taking time out of your busy schedules to share your stories and journeys as women in tech. I look forward to a wonderful conversation. Thank you all once again, and over to you, Toy.
Yeah, I think I'll just take it up from here. Please confirm if you can hear me. No problem. Can we all hear me, please? Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Yemisi, for that. Thank you so much, everyone. I can see the responses in the chat. Awesome. So we have our speakers right here on the call ready for us. But just before that, I have something I'd like to show everyone. I'll be sharing my screen now. So, all right, it's coming up now, and then. Okay.
My name is Fatima Ahmed. I'm from Ilorin, Kwara State. I studied chemistry from the University of Ilorin, but now I'm a woman in tech. Getting a job in Nigeria is very difficult. After my National Youth Service program, I was at home for like 5 to 6 months, writing CVs, applying for jobs, and the highest I got was callbacks, which was very frustrating. I was talking to a friend about the difficulties of getting a job in Nigeria, and he was telling me about the opportunities in tech. Coincidentally, at that time, another friend of mine was telling me about how she went to the Nigerian Women Techsters program, where she learned how to code and build websites. Seeing what she could do, I was motivated to apply for the Nigerian Women Techsters program. The training was for 12 weeks. I learned technical skills, building websites, writing codes. I also learned soft skills, communicating effectively, working in teams. It made me more effective in what I do today. Coming for the training, I just felt that, okay, I'll just learn some new skills, then have to go back home to apply for other jobs. But during the training, I started getting a lot of job opportunities, and here I am today. I have a good job, and I am glad I took the bold step to come for the Nigerian Women Techsters training. I currently work as a technical support engineer at Tech Experts, where I provide cloud-based solutions. I want to use this opportunity to encourage other young women out there who are looking for jobs to empower themselves with tech skills and take advantage of opportunities like this.
With partners like Microsoft, we've been able to train over 2,475 women in coding and deep tech skills across 12 states in Nigeria. And all this training was done for free. Over the next 10 years, we will train 5 million women across Africa by 2030. And we're looking for partners who could join us on this journey.
My name is Fatima Ahmed. I'm from
All right.
State.
All right, so I bet some of us watched that. So I would like to see responses from us for those that were able to see the video that was just played. I can see some people are still, just introducing themselves. Thanks for all those who are just joining in. Welcome once again to the Women Techsters Open Day, August edition 2023. And like Blessing said earlier, it is the this open day will be the last open day for the programmatic year of 2022, and we are so thrilled to have everyone here. I can already see responses talking about how beautiful and inspiring that was. Okay, awesome. I love that. And just like Fatima's story, your story can also be like that. So quickly going into the crux of why we are here, I'll just be pulling up the bios of all of our speakers who are right here and ready for us to ready for us to ready to tell us about their tech journeys and everything that they have for us today. Okay, so it's right here. All right, please just give me a moment. Okay, so I have the first speaker here, Purity. Purity is a software developer driven by a solid commitment to community work and the goal of fostering a more inclusive and accessible internet. She has expertise in building applications and working with data to tell stories. She has worked both in the back end using Node, Python, and Ruby tools, and in the front end using frameworks such as React, Gatsby, Meteor, and Angular, and templating languages like Handlebars. Purity believes that the web should be more accessible, and she does all she can to play her role in contributing to this. When not coding, she has an interest in building communities, reading, and discovering new hobbies such as food, music, art, and fashion. Hi, Purity. Good afternoon.
Hello. Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for having
How
me.
is Kenya today?
It's all right. A bit chilly, but good. Yeah.
Okay, love to hear
Yeah.
that. All right. And I'll just move to our next speaker, Kutlano. So Kutlano Gema. Kutlano is a cloud solutions architect focusing on Azure infrastructure, and she holds a BCom honors degree in information and knowledge management. She is passionate about helping students equip themselves to become more employable, and she currently works at Microsoft. During her free time, she enjoys collecting and reading books, and her favorite books are Intelligence Isn't Enough by Caris Anderson and Green Light by Matthew McCartney. She has a favorite quote which says, "Only the paranoid survive," by Andy Grove. And she believes the more paranoid she is, the more curious and inquisitive she becomes, and the more she learns and takes risks. Hello, Kutlado. How are you doing? How is South Africa today?
Hi everyone, I'm good, thanks. It's pretty chilled this side. The weather is very good. Thank you for asking.
Okay, awesome. Glad to hear that. All right, and then we'll move quickly to our third speaker, Tiju Supremi Aramo, also known as TJP. Okay, so I'm currently holding the role of product manager at Thoughtbridge, a global investment research powerhouse. Tiju Supremi has a wealth of experience and a diverse background in product management. With a master's degree in international technology management from Warwick University, she possesses a strong foundation in navigating the intersection of technology and business. Her academic journey honed her ability to grasp the ever-evolving landscape of innovation. However, her true journey started in Nigeria's dynamic startup realm. For over 4 years, she dived into fintech, health tech, people management, and prop tech, discovering the transformative potential of technology. A certified product manager with a keen interest in the field of data, her mission is to empower individuals and businesses through technology and inspire others to achieve their best. Hi, TJ Supremi. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, how are you doing today?
Very fine, thank you. Doing great, thank you.
Awesome. Awesome, glad to hear that. And finally, to our wonderful moderator for today, Mercy. Mercy Kisilu. Mercy is a dedicated professional with a unique journey in the world of technology. She began her career in health information technology, but her passion for technology led her to transition into the exciting field of cybersecurity. Hailing from Kenya, she has embraced the role of a cybersecurity analyst, focusing on protecting digital landscape from evolving threats. With a blend of health informatics knowledge and cybersecurity expertise, she is on a mission to bridge the gap between technology and security, creating a safer online world for all. Currently, she serves as a Women Techsters Bootcamp cybersecurity facilitator at Tech for Dev, where she is committed to fostering a secure digital environment through education and empowerment. Hi, Mercy. How are you doing today? Good afternoon. Hi, Mercy. Can you hear me?
Hi, yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. I had to sign in using my phone because my laptop. Well, okay, I'm glad to be here. Very eager to learn from the experts in the field. Yeah, and I look forward to this meeting, what I'm going to learn. Yes.
Okay, awesome. So we have come to, the crux of the meeting, like I always like to say, it's time for our moderated fireside chat. And at this point, I'll just be handing the baton over to Mercy, our wonderful moderator. So Mercy, over to you.
Okay. Thank you so much. So I'm one of the testimonies of the people who transitioned into tech. So for the people who have joined us, I believe we are all going to learn from our people, from our guest speakers who are experts in the field. So yes, and if you have any question, I believe you can just type it on the chat box. Ari Olwa is going to be maybe noting down. In case I'm not able to cover all of them, she's going to come up with the few that are going to be.
Hi, Mercy.
Okay.
Okay,
hey.
yes. For the questions, I think just to make it more orderly, we can just make it of the Q&A segment on Zoom. So hi everyone, if you have questions, so that because people are going to be using the chat very frequently, so your question does not get carried away by other people's responses. You can just input it in the chat, in the Q&A section rather, and then afterwards we'll have a Q&A and just get it. But of course, Mercy, I'm always here for you, so please go ahead.
Okay, so yes, so my question goes to, maybe we can start with Purity. Yeah, we can go to Purity. Purity, please tell us, can you take us down the memory lane and tell us how you made your decision to transition into tech or maybe join tech, and what inspired you to get into the tech space, that is.
Okay, thank you so much. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Or someone let me know if I start breaking up. Yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, my experience in tech has been I would say if I had to go down memory lane, it all started when I was in high school, and I was very, very interested in taking up the computer elective in high school. And as much as it wasn't like algorithms or anything quite crazy, what was going on was that I just started getting an interest in like, okay, so how do you build a database? How do you do this? How do you do that? And yeah, I would end up finding myself getting interested in new technologies and just devices and things like that, like PlayStation and all those things. And I was like, okay, maybe I might have a career in this thing. But then when I went to college, I didn't pursue a career in technology. I actually did a degree in business and a bit of IT, but it wasn't like a fully technological course. And so while doing the course, I kept feeling like I was still gravitating towards software development. And so I just started seeking it out, like by joining by communities just like this one. And I even ended up joining a tech bootcamp called NICODE that was in Nairobi at the time. And I got to do a bit of coding. And so as I continued to seek it out, there's someone who always told me that what you seek is seeking you, rather, like in the sense of like, if you start getting interested in something, you start seeing a lot of it around you. So that's what happened. So as the more I got into the communities, the more I started learning more about tech. And so that's where I decided to not continue with my career in business. And I then, I didn't actually finish my degree. So that's when I'm not encouraging anybody to not finish their degree, by the way. This is
Okay.
my story personally. And so what happened was that around third year, that was when Andela was just starting out in Kenya. And so I weighed my options and I felt like going on doing business or doing technology, it felt like tech was where my heart was in. So I joined Andela, and I guess the rest is history, because now from there, I got to do a lot of coding. I got to work for different organizations. From Andela, I went on to work for the BBC, and from the BBC, I got to work for other multiple different companies, all the way to where I am right now as a senior software engineer. So I would say it's just been a series of small steps, not really one big jump. Rather, it's been incremental. That's been my story. Yeah.
Okay, so was there a specific reason why you chose software development? We understand that the tech space is quite broad. So what exactly led you to software development?
I think the aspect of problem solving, because with software development, you get to solve a lot of I would say, and building features and problem solving. I find that I'm also very creative in so many ways. So I found that I really enjoyed how my mind was allowed to be creative in software development. And I know there's multiple other fields that allow you to be creative in software engineering, but that's just what ended up catching my heart. Yeah.
Okay. So thank you so much for that. I have learned that it's the small steps that counts. And I since you have not completed your degree in business, you're still able to get jobs elsewhere. It just shows that you have the skills, because employers always look for the value that you're bringing into the organization, right? Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. We can move to Kutluano. I hope I'm getting it right. So Kutluano, growing up as a South African girl, did you think that you'd ever get into the tech space? And what inspired you to study what you did, Kutluano?
Thank you so much. So no, I didn't think I'd be in the tech space. I literally have a variety, or had rather, a variety of courses that I wanted to do. So that made me delay the application process, and most of the courses that I wanted to apply for were already full, and I was then put on the waiting list. So just to avoid not getting in, I asked the university what other courses they have available that are currently taking on students, and information management was one of them. I knew nothing about it. I didn't even know any opportunities that would come with having this degree. But I just went in and did my research while I waited for schools to open. And even first year, second year, I was still a bit puzzled about actually, what am I going to do with this degree? Fortunately, with like-minded people around me, I started asking more questions. I started also doing certain courses on the side, because our degree is also technology based, but it's not as technical. And by technical, I mean you don't learn how to code. You have to do that on the side. So I then took on a learnership, an IT and financial services learnership, which allowed me to understand more about what I can do with this degree, but it also equipped me with technical skills and finance skills. There afterwards, I then obviously did a graduate program. Fortunately, the bank that I was doing my learnership at took me in for their IT graduate program. And I was also given the opportunity to do software engineering. I was just like, nope. I was there for 2 weeks and I knew that I was in the wrong place. I then asked to be moved to a different team. I was given a variety of options to choose from, and the cloud team was one of them. And I chose cloud because I knew it was a technology that was still growing at that time. I knew nothing about it as well. I think, hence I always say, I learned quite a lot from taking risks, because I didn't even know what cloud was all about and what opportunities were available. But I then joined the cloud team, did a lot of certifications in order for me to understand exactly what cloud was. And I learned a lot about Microsoft Azure. And I then became a cloud engineer at a bank in South Africa. And yeah, I guess my experience there landed me a job at Microsoft. So I had no idea what I was doing. I just found myself finding opportunities, and I grabbed those opportunities with open arms. I hope I was audible.
Yes, yes, you were. Hi, Messi.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, fine. And did you have in your course, did you have anybody audible? Is that what you... Hi, Ari Olua. Can you hear me?
Yes, I think there was just a lag in the network. So we did not hear you for a while. Yes. But you can go ahead, please.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I asked whether Kutluano had a role model once she got into the tech space. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. I didn't really have a role model, but what I did was I found mentors. I found people that were already in the space that I was in, that were obviously seniors, executives, and I approached them in terms of, because I didn't know what I was looking for. I don't know what I didn't know. So I then just looked at people that were excelling in that career and asked them to be my mentor. And from me having conversations with them and me learning from them, they became the people that, I think, if I can put for lack of a better word, I'd say they became my role models in terms of what I wanted to do or what I'd aspire my career to look like.
Okay, and what's your take about different people having mentors? Do you encourage people to have mentors and all?
Definitely, I do encourage mentorship. I have non-technical and technical mentors, because it's always also important to learn the business side of things, how to conduct yourself, how to approach your career. And also technical mentors are quite important because they can help you on any project that you're working on. They can advise in terms of the technology that you need to upskill in. So I do encourage mentorship. I don't think I'd be where I am if I don't have any mentors or any sponsors.
Okay, that's nice. So to Purity and Kutluano, I understand that most of us maybe used the University of YouTube to learn more about tech, but do you have any other communities that you can encourage the young women to be engaged in so that they can be pros in the tech space? Do you have any community in cloud, architect, or any other tech space that you know of? Yes.
Yes, so I use a lot of blogs to stay abreast of all the changes that are happening in the cloud, because things change all the time in that space. Like you've just mentioned, YouTube, there's quite a lot of channels that I'm subscribed to, like John Seville, who's also a Microsoft employee, and he always just does updates in terms of the product knowledge. There's meetups, a lot of Azure meetups that are available that people can join for free. And sometimes they're even in person, so it's quite nice to engage with people in person, but there are also virtual opportunities. But blogs and YouTube are my go-to resources and mentors.
Thank you. What's your take on that, Purity? Is Purity on the call?
Hi, Mercy. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, I think we're having some network issues.
Yeah, I
Hi.
agree with
Okay, hi, Purity. Can you hear us?
up to date is for sure with Tammy. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes. Please go ahead.
Okay. So I was saying I agree with Kutlano that in terms of staying up to date, that I also follow a couple of people on YouTube because YouTube these days has like a lot of content. So especially the Free Code Camp channel, like I know that the site itself doesn't have as much, but when you go to the YouTube for Free Code Camp, they have a lot, like in terms of architecture, software engineering, front end, back end, and all that. I also follow things like Odin Project and the like, but I would say that if you're looking to go to maybe towards like front end, web development, or some back end courses, you might have to invest a little bit. Sometimes you'll have to pay for these courses. So some places like Front End Masters, they're really, really good. The content is amazing, but you kind of have to invest a bit there. But in the beginning, as you're learning, for sure, Free Code Camp is your friend, I believe, and other YouTube channels like JS Mastery, like they have a lot of content. So yeah, so I would say start with free courses, but don't be scared to invest also a little bit once you're able to get a salary and get paid for the same roles. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And also there is also Tech for Dev. Yeah, at Tech for Dev we train we train on five courses which you can check on our website. Yeah, currently I'm the cybersecurity facilitator. If anyone is interested in cybersecurity, maybe you can just enroll with us. All right. So Aremu TJ, so okay, fine. Aremu on the call?
Yes, I'm here. You could just call me TJV, that's fine.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, TJP. So do you remember your first experience with computers when you were growing up, and what made you exactly choose a career in tech?
So I think I grew up much around like computers and technologies because my mom is really a big influence in my life, and she at the point was like a professor in educational technology. So I was the last born. I was kind of like a guinea pig to test any like games and things like that she was developing. And so I was always on the computer, always trying to like learn something, always just trying to like play games and things like that. So originally I always thought I was going to be like a game developer, quite honestly, but yeah. But anyways, growing up, everybody just sort of knew or just assumed I would do something like computer related, even if I didn't really know like the technicalities of it. So it was quite easy for me to like choose a course to go to university. I chose, computer science. It was like, this is what I want to be doing for my life. I want to be coding and things like that. And then 4 years, it was amazing. It was very challenging, and also appreciated the fact that I got exposed to the other aspect of computer science, of computer or technology space in general. So when I got to my final year and I had to like sort of make that decision as to what to do, during my final year project, I had to like develop this application and things like that. And I just realized that I sort of gravitated more towards the, understanding users, analyzing data, and just communicating with, users, getting feedback type of thing, and just organizing the whole thing, as opposed to like the technical aspects of actually coding, right? Every software developer will probably tell you that, it can be very frustrating. You just need to keep trying and everything. But at that point, I really had like little patience. I was like, okay, you know what? I want to do something like a project. I wanted to do like a project management role in technology. I hadn't already heard of like product management. So when I came out, I got people asking me, would you like, nobody wants to hire somebody fresh out of school as a project manager, right? But then I just, kept persevering and just looking around for different opportunities, because I was very sure I wanted to do something, managerial within the tech space. And then I found like an opportunity for a product management internship, and I just read about it and I was like, oh my God, this is actually what I want to do, right? And that's sort of how I just got into the product management space, and it has been great from then.
Okay, maybe you can just tell us what product management is all about. Yeah, what does it entail?
No problem. So product management is kind of like a unique role that bridges the gap between like, all stakeholders within like the product field or within or everything around just building like a product or a service. They are usually the ones that are in charge of a product manager in a team is in charge of, the conception, the launch of a product up to, the growth up to if it has to be retired and things like that. So everything around like the entire life cycle of actually bringing a product to life. That's what a product manager does. So, I mean, if you talk about sort of like the key day-to-day things that you're doing, you're probably, doing like market research because you need to sort of understand like the industry you're in. You need to understand like your customers as well. So the product manager sort of just sits in that gap as the person that, understands first, like the business, what the business is trying to achieve, the business goals and needs, the customers' goals and needs, and also like the engineering aspect, the developers, right? So being like that person that connects everybody together, ensures like communication is like great across all boards and ensuring that the product vision is actually brought to life and the customers get the most value out of the product that they were building. Yeah.
Okay, and what skills does one require to have maybe to get into product management? Maybe soft skills, maybe tools.
Sure. So, I mean, there are quite a number of soft skills that are required. I mean, you mentioned it for product management. It's not really, I mean, I feel like everybody can get into product management and it's usually like one of the easiest ways to enter if you're like crossing in from another industry and you want that exposure into tech because there are quite a lot of like transferable skills you can get in that you can get from every other industry. So in terms of like the key skills or like the soft skills that you need, basic things like communication, because you're, interacting with stakeholders quite a lot, different stakeholders, and just being able to speak like the same language or speak the same language of the product or communicate that vision to every single person or every single stakeholder, because you have different stakeholders, marketing, sales, you have senior management, you also have developers, and just being able to understand everybody at their point and communicate to them in that particular way is very important. Things like empathy, right? Just understanding who your customers are, there are things that people often take for granted, but just, being able to empathize with who your customers are and just dig deep into like the problems that they are actually facing so you can actually come up with intelligent solutions for it. Another thing I'll say is like, just generally having that problem solving or just being curious, right? And being able to ask questions and just bring up ideas. I think that's one thing I always say, just be curious enough to ask enough questions, to try to get to the bottom of things and all that. I would also say another skill that product manager needs probably like prioritization, which is very important. It's probably what you do in like your everyday. You're prioritizing things based off of like the effort, based off of like the business goals, based off of like the user needs. So being able to ruthlessly prioritize to actually find out like what is the key thing that we need to achieve, or what's the key thing that we need to do right now to achieve this goal that we have defined for us is also like an important skill to have. I'll say those are like the key skills, I guess.
Okay, maybe we can move to another question. Okay, what is the most challenging aspect of your job, product management?
Challenging, I mean, just because there is quite a number of stakeholders involved, I would say one thing would be balancing stakeholders' expectations and priorities. In terms of, especially when you have like a lot of like stakeholders or senior management that are not so technical, they come up with this amazing idea of how like the website or the product should look like, and we have like maybe deadlines of like two weeks or 2 months and things like that, and then just trying to like manage expectations as like, okay, this is what we can have within this period, based off of like what we need right now, things like that. So just being able to like communicate with people, and sort of pacify stakeholders. I think that's one thing that's generally challenging in product management. But yeah, it's definitely something that you grow with, and you just learn to manage, understand each of like the stakeholders, understand their role within a project, and just make sure like you're carrying each person along at each stage. So everybody is, very great, I guess.
All right, thank you. Okay, so what about you, Purity? What are some of the challenges that you faced in your job? Day-to-day activities, and how do you deal with them?
Yeah, I would say that one of my biggest challenges would be for sure having to balance meetings and being able to work at the same time. So sometimes I feel like I would be happy to just sit at my computer and do the work and not have anyone look for me on Slack or on email, or for me to have to do an update. So I always feel like I want to like spend like time like building, but then at the same time, software development requires you to have like soft skills and interact with people and have to give updates and all that. And I get the importance of those processes and all that, but I would say that's the most challenging part of my job, because sometimes like your focus is interrupted, and like you're really deep into doing something and then it gets interrupted and you can't get it back. And so I would say that has been my biggest challenge, and how I've navigated it, to be honest, has been to either wake up earlier or sleep later sometimes, because so that by the time we're getting to my work day, I'm just responding to emails and just submitting my tickets and so forth. Because I know for some people that's not like some people, they're okay with like multitasking, but I would say that has been the biggest challenge for me. Yeah.
Okay, so I can see on the chat box very many people are interested in software development. Maybe we should not assume people know what software development is. Maybe you can just tell us what it is all about and the technical skills that one is required to have to be a software developer.
Okay, so to be a software developer basically is to just build on ideas in using software, rather solving problems using software. So for example, if someone has an idea for an app, I think that's the one that everyone knows, and they're like, okay, I would like a delivery app. So the person who's going to build that app, the app is built by multiple people. So there are people who are going to do deployments and all that. Those are people who do DevOps, for example. And then there's people who are going to now write the button that you'll click, or the or create the user interface of what you're going to do, or create the data, or work with the data that is going to be collected from that app and so forth. So that's basically what software development is. It's just basically navigating, creating something from an idea. I would say that's the best way to describe it. In terms of skills that you need, if you want to do front-end web development, you would need a lot of JavaScript frameworks like React, Angular, and the like. If you'd like to do back-end development, you would need maybe like Python or any back-end language that they use, like Java, Python, and even JavaScript, the runtime Node.js, and so forth. And then there's databases. You might need like MySQL, MongoDB, Postgres, and so forth. So basically, I would say there's multiple skills that are needed. But what I can do is I can link in. There's a roadmap called developer.sh, and it basically has a roadmap for everything. So if you want to learn maybe website building and you just click, okay, I want to do front-end web development, you will see the whole roadmap from what you need to learn, like learn HTML, learn CSS, learn JavaScript. It shows you where to get those resources. If you want to learn anything basically that's in tech that's there, you should see the roadmap from there. So I think I'm just going to link it. I'm just going to write it in the chat. Yeah. It will have a more clear yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry?
Thank you so much. Given that you don't have maybe the papers, how was it getting your first job? Like, how was the interview? You didn't have the papers. Tell us about that experience.
Yeah, I guess I guess I would say maybe I've been lucky. I'll say that in the sense of like, okay, that's the first job. For the first job was underlined, so they did not really care about it, because when I went to interview, they didn't even ask for my papers. They just wanted to see that I could code, and I did a 1 month interview and then another 2-week on-site interview where we were coding and building projects. And if you manage to build the project by the end of the 2 weeks, you got a job. Yeah. So I would say I've been lucky in that sense. But then in terms of my next steps after that have been to ensure that I'm always updating my GitHub, ensuring that I'm building personal projects so that during my interviews, what we are discussing are the projects I've built and not necessarily the papers that I have, rather the skills that I have. So basically building projects, updating your GitHub. I network so much in the tech community. So I also make sure that I'm also in the tech community, tech ecosystem. And at the same time, that really helps because majority of these tech jobs are not really advertised. So you find that a lot of the time during the networking in tech ecosystem, you find that someone will be like, oh, Pretty, I know you do this. Would you be interested in doing an interview with us? And you're able to do that. So I would say also just being part of that tech ecosystem is also very important in that sense. Yeah.
Okay, so we need to have a social network regarding tech or something. Okay, what about you, Kutluano? What the most challenging aspect of your job?
I think the first thing would depend on where the customer is on their cloud journey. So if you find a greenfield customer who does not know anything about cloud, they have no footprint in cloud, the challenge there would be to upskill the customer in terms of making them understand the different capabilities that Microsoft Azure provides, understanding the environment, what they can build, what they cannot build in the cloud, which is very important so that you can also manage expectations. And if it's a brownfield or a very matured customer that has some footprint in the cloud, I think the challenging part would also be helping the customer with their migration strategy, right? So now we're talking about customers that have that are hosting their applications on-prem. So now you want them to move from on-prem to the cloud. So now you have to help them refactor their applications, use things such as platform as a service instead of using their on-premise technologies. So it's just the upskilling part that's challenging. But once the customer understands exactly what the cloud can do for them, what their capabilities are, it's then easy. Then you come up with a migration strategy, then you come up with the architecture design, which can also be a back and forth until the customer is also comfortable with the fact that the application is going to look like this when it gets to the cloud compared to how it looks like on-prem.
Okay, what do you think is the future of cloud? Like, do you think cloud development solutions architecture is on progress? Like, very many people are going to be engaged into cloud, and yeah, basically, tell
Yes,
me about.
I do think there are quite a lot of opportunities for cloud. It's literally going to be around for quite a long time. I'm not too sure if the bill has been passed or not. However, most companies are being forced to move at least 60% of their applications from on-prem to the cloud. So there's quite a lot of work that needs to be done, and there's quite a lot of people that are going to be needed for cloud computing, or people that have cloud computing skills rather. So the future is really bright for cloud engineers and architects.
Okay, maybe you can describe to us what a day in a life of a cloud solutions architect looks like.
Okay, so it definitely depends on where the customer is, right? Like I mentioned, so if I'm with a brownfield customer, I'll start maybe with a workshop of some sort, helping them understand what Azure is, what they need to understand, how cloud is different to on-prem and how similar it is. So that they can understand what they are getting into. Then once that's done, we can then do a migration strategy where we now understand how is the landscape on cloud, and how they can re-architect because sometimes there's certain applications that are built on-prem that cannot be built the same onto the cloud. Therefore, we need to either refactor, re-architect, or even use different services to make sure that your application works accordingly, if not better than it was. So at first, we used to do a lift and shift where you just take your application as is from on-prem and put it as is into the cloud. But now we want to introduce a better way and a more efficient way of working into the cloud, where you use platform as a service, you use software as a service, you use infrastructure as a service, which is infrastructure is owned by the cloud provider, instead of you having now to own servers and paying for all of those expensive machineries. Now you only pay for what you consume. So you make customers understand that. Once that portion is done, you go into the migration strategy, like I mentioned. This is where you explain to them and you show them how they will be migrating, and the refactoring side of things come in. The reprogramming of the program of the application will come in place. And then once that's done, you can then help the customer with their architecture, showing them how everything is going to look like, and then help with the deployment of their application from on-prem into the cloud. Unless if it's an organization that does not even have an on-prem environment, they're starting from scratch and they want to land onto the cloud.
Okay, for one to be engaged into cloud, do I need to know about coding, maybe Python and all that? Any coding
So that's a debate that we always have with some of my colleagues, if you need coding skills or not. You can get a cloud solutions architect role without having coding skills, as long as you understand and you have product knowledge and you understand the different capabilities that Azure has. However, it is very imperative for you, it beneficial rather for one to have coding skills, because now you are going to work with an organization that has an application that's coded. Now you need to understand how that application was coded in order for you to develop it onto the cloud. So having coding skills can be a benefit. It can make your job very easy, because you don't always have to consult developers in terms of how did they do this? How do we refactor this? How do we reprogram this? If you have those skills, you can just look at the code, see what they've done, and try and make recommendation based on what you are seeing. And you need a lot of cloud skills. Like I mentioned, there's a learning path, a Microsoft learning path. You can start with AZ 900, which is a fundamental exam. Then you can move on to administrator certification. And then from there onwards, in order to get into the expert field, there's different learning paths. If you want to go into data science, infrastructure, DevOps, is literally different routes or paths that one can take when it comes to architecturing or certification as well.
Okay. So to Purity, okay. Yeah, to Purity, maybe you can tell us some of the soft skills that have helped you get to the position that you're at right now.
All right. So in terms of soft skills that have helped me, for sure, it's of course, once I join a team, I make sure to be dependable in the sense of, like, when people need me, I'm able to be dependable in that sense. And then also just being very open to feedback. I know that sometimes, like, feedback can sting, and someone tells you something and you might not really like it, but at the same time, just being open to knowing that you're a flawed human being and to improving on that, because the more you're open to feedback, the faster you learn, and the more you're not attached to the idea of, like, oh, this is who I am, because sometimes it's just like, okay, that's just I don't know how to phrase it, but rather in the sense of, like, don't be too attached to some of your habits, where you're like, oh, but I'm not like this. But it's like, yeah, we are changing human beings and we change all the time. So I would say that's one of the things, being open to feedback, and also being open to giving feedback, in the sense of, like, I don't like to stay in a team and there's someone who's doing something that I don't particularly enjoy or I don't particularly like. I like to tell them, just instead of going and doing nothing about it or talking behind their back or something like that, it's just better to tell the person, okay, this happened and I didn't like the way this went. So I would say feedback is a really big one. Another thing is the art of communication. It's one thing to say something, it's another thing how the other person will perceive it, and it's always the burden of the communicator. Like, how I communicate to my teammates, how I communicate to people, how they're going to receive it, the burden is on me. So to ensure that everybody understands what I'm saying, to understand if I'm writing code, that I've documented whatever I'm doing very well, and so forth. So I would say those are the major soft skills that have come through for me in terms of, yeah, I would say for sure, yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Hi, Messi, are you still there? Ooh, I would think that network issue has not been so very nice to us today. Hi, Messi, please let me know if you can hear me. Okay, so unfortunately, Messi, our moderator, is experiencing some network issues, but I'll quickly just pick up from where she left. So I think Purity was just sharing some of the soft skills that have been essential to her in her journey so far. And I was just writing down the art of communication and just how very important it is. And thank you so much for sharing that, Purity. Okay, I think you're muted. You're trying to say something, but I think you're muted.
Yeah, I was just saying thank you, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right then. Okay, so we'll just quickly move on to TJP and just talk about for you as a product manager, what soft skills will you say have been like the most important for you? This is the TJP. What soft skills did you say have been like very, very instrumental in your or let me phrase it this way, how important are soft skills for a product manager? And what would you say would be the best way for because I read through the comment section and noticed that there are quite a number of persons who were saying how they would like to go into product management. So we'd just like to see one, how important is soft skills as a product manager, and two, how best can an entry level product manager position themselves to prospective employers so that they are able to get the most they're able to put their best foot forward and just get their dream job. So I hope you got my question.
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Okay, all right, please go ahead.
So no problem. So starting from like just soft skills, I think I mentioned earlier the most important things, or one thing that you always do as a product manager is communicate. So I mean, this is also like a transferable skill that you can get from any field, in like any field that you're coming in from. So communication is a big one, being able to even both retain communication, and I'm just going to clarify, because I saw a lot of the comments, it's product management is actually separate from product design. Yes, so that's two completely different things, but you need sort of that knowledge, which I'll talk about in like the skills that you need. So I mean, soft skills that you need generally just communication, collaboration, empathy, leadership without influence, because product managers don't exactly have authorities, but you're supposed to influence people. So being able to like lead without authority is also sort of like very important in being able to like communicate your ideas very clearly, that you can get buy-in from people. That's something that is always very important. Also problem solving, because a lot of things that you do in product management day to day is like solving problems, like quenching fires, here and there. There's a lot of issues going on in like technology or in software space in general. So being able to just problem solve, try to find like the best solution, the easiest solution that could go right at that moment is really an important one. And just generally adaptability, being very flexible, because roadmaps change, product vision change, things always like change, especially in technology space, right? It's very fast paced in like people's the industry trends and things like that. So just being able to adapt, because you probably maybe come to like a stakeholder meeting one day, and then something that was the most important thing that had to be done within the next week is all of a sudden just like changed, and you have a new, new vision, new priority, and you just need to adapt. You need to adapt. You need to adjust your roadmap. You need to adjust vision. You need to communicate, right, with everybody that is involved in like the development or post development as well. And then I would say for people that are trying to get into product management, I mean, whether you're just like me personally, I was able to get an internship right after school. So internships are a very good opportunity for you to, enter that product management space. Or if you're even like looking to transition from another industry, maybe like marketing or sales or something, and you're really interested in technology, there's a lot of like the soft skills I mentioned. You can make use of those, you can make use of those transferable skills and just highlight those things in your CV and ensure that you showcase like your sort of like your passion for technology in general. I would also say that, apart from, because people say, sometimes internships are a bit hard to come along, side projects, volunteering, do as much. For example, like in my church, there is a tech team, so I volunteer there. If anybody is in need of anything, somebody that's starting a software project, just volunteer and say, can I be a product manager to this product? You don't have to be getting paid for it. Just volunteer your services, and you learn from these things. I mean, even employ yourself if you can. You learn from these things, and you just keep growing in each different product that you work on, different project that you handle. You keep growing and learning. So definitely just develop that sort of portfolio from like the side projects and things like that. And I will also say like networking. A lot of people have already mentioned this today, product communities around. Big one that I know in Africa is Product Dive, and they do have communities and groups that you can always just meet other product managers and mentors and things like that. Also, platforms like this as well take advantage of this. I think communities are generally just very helpful, even in terms of even finding opportunities for jobs and things like that. You find those within communities. And another thing I would say is just having that mindset of growth and learning, right? Just always wanting to, learn, understand that wherever you are is in like the standard, right? You just keep learning to grow and understand that wherever you're starting from can be, entry level, but you just, keep learning and developing yourself to actually get to the level that you envision for yourself and things like that. So that's what I would say in terms of like getting into product.
Oh wow, that was a lot. But thank you very much, TJP. And I hope you ladies are taking notes, and I hope you got something from that, because I especially like the part where you spoke about as a product manager, I need to learn how to influence people, right? Without necessarily having that authority, but still being able to lead people. And then when it just comes to positioning yourself, just about you have to one, show that willingness, right? Just as she has said. And it has to be obvious in the things you've done, right? I think it was Kutlano that I was talking earlier on, that was either Kutlano or Puritan, I'm not sure. I was talking about just increasing your social network in terms of tech, right? Just go to places where people can see you at, attend boot camps, attend events like this, right? Where you can get to meet to other people, you can get to network, you can get to talk about, oh, this is something I'm interested in. What do you have that I can do? Things around that line. And thank you very, very much for that, TJP. So I think I have a question here for Kutlano. So I think what would you say are the most important technical skills every beginner in tech ought to have? And I'm not sure if you really gave a definite description of what you do as a cloud solutions architect, because I know I saw some questions surrounding is there a difference between cloud solution architect and data science? So I think if you could just give more clarity on who a cloud solutions architect is and the nature of the work you do, and what kind of technical skills would be required for someone to get into cloud solutions, becoming a cloud solutions architect. So I can see Messi on the call. Hi, Messi. Are you good to go? Can I hand the baton over to you? Your mic is muted. Hi, Mercy, your mic
Oh,
is muted.
oh, okay. Yeah, I noticed. Yeah, I'm available, but I'm still having a power issue. Yeah,
Okay,
that's why.
okay. All right,
Yeah.
that's fine. I'm always here for you as your backup. So hi, Kutlano. Sorry, I hope you still remember the question.
Yes, I do. Yes,
Okay,
there
please go
is.
ahead.
Okay, there is a huge difference between a data science and a cloud solutions architect. So, like I mentioned, with cloud solutions architect, we basically just help organizations with their architecture design from moving into the cloud, from on-prem into the cloud, right? And that's also goes hand in hand with migration strategy in terms of what are they going to do, what strategies do they need to do, how do they need to prepare themselves to move from on-prem into the cloud. And we also assist with identifying and upskilling the people that will be working with those applications from on-prem to the cloud. So like I mentioned, one of the challenges that we encounter is upskilling, not challenge, but you have to start by upskilling greenfield organizational people that do not know anything about the cloud. So you find someone who's been working with the same framework for the past 20 years in the organization, and now they are being told to move into cloud. Now they need to learn how to even spell Azure, right? So now I need to help them understand, how does the platform look like? What are the capabilities? What are the services, right? So we have things like such as your resource group, your different resources within your environment, understanding network, what are the different components that are connected together, understanding the DevOps side of things. How are you going to deploy your services or your resources within cloud? Are you going to use the portal? Are you going to use DevOps? Are you going to use GitHub? Because there's the different integrations that you can use in order to deploy into the cloud. So those are the things that we dissect and help the customer understand, and also help the customer use their current skills, the skills that they have, in order for them to use them into the cloud. But obviously now they need to do things such as certifications, attend workshop in terms of understanding what are the capabilities. So with me, I'm an infrastructure cloud solutions architect. So I work with all things infrastructure. So things like your networking, storage, virtual machines, those are your servers, backup, disaster recovery. So I touch on those things. So if a customer comes and says, hi, I need a storage solutions, I don't know what type of storage solution I want to or I can use within the cloud. So I have to ask the first question, what type of data are you trying to store into the cloud, right? So maybe it could be videos, it could be pictures. So I know that's a blob storage, right? So if they're trying to store files, there's a file share. So there's different types of services and resources that are available into the cloud and in Microsoft Azure, but we need to understand what are the requirements of the customer, what are they trying to do, so that we can recommend the right service. Hence, I'm saying that even your degree at this point does not even help. It's just a matter of product knowledge. You need to know what are the capabilities of your as the service provider, right, as Microsoft, and then you can help the customer choose the right service, and obviously it will also be cost related, because it is quite expensive to operate onto the cloud. So cost optimization, also one of the things that we help customers with, especially if they've onboarded onto the cloud and they've been turning on quite a lot of things. Now I have to come and be like, what's unnecessary here? What can you resize in terms of maybe a virtual machine that was deployed a few years back, but the customer is not using that virtual machine to the best of its abilities. So I'll come in and resize that server for them in order for them to spend less. And I'll suggest things such as switching off the server at night, turning on automation where at 7 o'clock, let's say, for example, an employee knows that they come into the office at 8 o'clock. So we have an automation that you can put in place where you'll say your server will turn on at 7, so that by the time you get in at 8, it's on. And if you knock off at 4, we make sure that your server is off by 5. So that means during the time that your server is off, you're not paying for it. But as soon as you start your server, you start paying, right? So those are the type of things that we help. When it comes to storage, there's also different tiers on storage. There's your hot, which is data that is available readily available and is used on a daily basis. And then you have your cool tier, which is data that is not so used, but you can get it in less hours. And then we have your archive, where now this is data that you're not going to use in a very long time, and it's cheaper to keep your data in archive. However, the rehydration portion of it takes a bit of time. So I usually do the analogy of a doctor. If you know that you have a patient that comes in on a weekly basis for their checkup, you'd want to keep their data into the hot tier. If you know that you have that patient that comes in every 3 months or so, you want to keep their data into the cool tier. And then if you have that patient that came in once in a while and you don't even know when they're going to come, you keep their data in the archive. So the pricing for the different tiers are different. So those are the type of the recommendations that we provide to the customer. And also when we're building the architecture for the customer, we then show the different landscapes, show how things or different components work together, from networking to storage to virtual machines and so forth.
Oh wow. Wow, that's really a lot. Yeah, but thank you so much for sharing. I think someone is asking a question. Okay, some already saying thank you for the clarification. Someone's asking, is the knowledge of Azure same as for Amazon Cloud? I think I just saw that.
So if you've worked on Azure, it will be easier for you to understand Amazon. So the only difference here, it's the naming, right? So we call a storage account, or storage a storage account. Amazon will call it a bucket, right? So it's just a matter of understanding the different names. We have different names. Amazon is very creative, if I can say that, when it comes to how they name their services and resources. Where else with us, we quite straightforward. You understand what you're getting yourself into, easy to use. So I always, not to be biased or anything, but always encourage people to start with Azure.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for that. Hi Purity, quickly let's just I'd like to know, so far the woman in tech, have you faced any discrimination working in a male dominated field? And if yes, how have you dealt with it so far?
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. Like, yeah, the world is a patriarchal world, so anywhere that you exist in as a woman, of course, you're going to receive some form of, yeah, discrimination of some kind. Not all the time, but I would say it happened to me. I would say mostly, at the beginning of my career. I would say as my career has progressed, I haven't noticed it, let me say, as much. It's either I've gotten used to it or I don't notice it as much. But when I was starting out, there was the whole, this is how a person in tech is supposed to look, behave, sound, and so forth. And people like to employ or work with people who look like them, sound like them, behave like them in so many ways. And when you find in a space like tech, majority, especially when I was starting out, I would say that right now I'm finding more and more women in tech, but I would say that it wasn't as, especially let me say in the context of Kenya, that it wasn't as many women at the time. But I would say right now, as they've been more and more women, I would say that it's getting, I don't know, a bit better here and there. But I would say the way to navigate through it is different for every different scenario, because it depends on also the kind of person you are. Do you want to address the problem head on, or do you want to, just let your work speak for itself? People have different schools of thought around that at the same time. But what I would say is, my advice would just be, if you are working in a male dominated field, regardless of it being tech or anything, you're going to just have to be really good at it, because automatically they will believe that you're not as good at it as you are. So all I'm going to say is that just make sure that you're always as good at it as possible. Like, give your best in everything that you do, because people will already be waiting for you to fail sometimes. So I would say the best advice at the moment, because there's so many ways I could advise on what to navigate, but the one that I think would be the best is to just get your skills right, and to make sure that you're really good at what you're doing. So that's what I'm going to say. But I wouldn't say that my advice is the best, because navigating these things are not a straightforward path. Everyone has their own way of how they go through it. Yeah.
Oh
So
wow.
maybe TJ and Kutlano can tell us. I don't know, but yeah, that's been my experience.
Okay, thank you so very much for that, Purity. We are rounding up the session actually because our time is fast spent. So, hi TJP. If you could look back to your younger self starting out in tech, what advice would you give her? Like we have a lot of ladies on this call now who are about to, start their careers in tech. So, what's like your one advice to her?
I would say, okay, not one thing, but generally I would say be confident and just embrace like your uniqueness, even just as a person and also as a lady, right? Because some of the things I'm a very like reserved person, and just being in that industry or being a product manager and just working with other product managers that sometimes always like more outspoken and more like dogged in their approach to getting things done, questioning those things, but also just embracing like my uniqueness. But because like me being calm, it makes me actually able to like communicate or form relationships with people and actually communicate, exactly what needs to be done in a very unique way. So I'll definitely say one thing to do is embrace your uniqueness. There's a part of you that can actually help you stand out in whatever role that you are, and just be confident about it. Be confident about speaking about like the small wins that you have. Be confident about your growth. Be confident and just keep pushing and keep pushing, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, okay, awesome. Thank you very much. Be confident, speak about your wins, and that's very, very important because no one will know what you're doing if you don't actually tell your story yourself. So thank you so very much for that. So before going to the Q&A, hi Kitlano, what about you? What final words do you have for ladies on the call today?
Like I mentioned, I am an advocate for mentorship. Please do get a mentor. So, for example, what I would recommend is LinkedIn, right? Find someone that's doing what you'd like to do. You don't even have to contact them. Just look at their certifications, look at their work history in order for you to understand the roadmap that they took. And if you feel like you don't understand certain certifications or how to even get onto the roles that they did, then you can obviously contact them, send them an email or text, whatever the case might be on LinkedIn. If everything is clear, for example, if you want to be a cloud solutions architect or a cloud engineer or even in support, like I mentioned, start with your AZ 900, which is your fundamental for Azure, then do your administration. And then if you want to be the developer route, then there's a DevOps and a developer certification path that you can take. If you want to be in administration, you can stick with your administration and do your solutions architect certification. And not to say that in cloud you need certification to prove that you can do the work. You also can do projects and put them on GitHub or YouTube so that people can see the kind of work that you can do, right? Because with being a solutions architect, you have to architect exactly the application, how it can look like from end-to-end process in terms of your networking, storage, servers, and so forth. So you can also do that, but also do more than what is expected from you. So if a role, let's say for example, you see an internship, they want someone that that has a data science, or they want someone that has some form of computer science degree. If you don't have that, by having these extra certifications and having a GitHub repo and having a YouTube channel that you can showcase your skill, it makes you more attractive than someone that just has a computer science degree. So it doesn't mean if you don't have a tech related degree, you can't get into tech. You can, but you just have to obviously prove yourself more and also just have those additional skills. Take on those boot camps, even if it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks. When you put that on your resume, it makes you so attractive, so attractive. I got my job through LinkedIn, so hence I'm saying literally put yourself out there, go through those certifications, always update your resume, and make sure that you put yourself out there. Attend those meetups if you can, especially in person, so that people don't forget your faces.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so very much to all of our speakers. Thanks to all of our panelists. Thank you, Kutlano. I can see people already clapping on the chat. It has been such an informative session, and it's been a whole lot. It's been packed. I'm still trying to write in my notes and try and capture as much as I can. I'm not sure if Mercy is still on the call. But we are going into the we're quickly going into the Q&A segment right now because we don't have so much time anymore. We've spent our time for this segment. Hi Mercy. Are you still experiencing, have you been able to sort the network issues? I saw a question on cybersecurity, and I was thinking we could just quickly start with that. Someone was asking to know more about cybersecurity. So if you could just quickly give us like an overview, and then I think I'll try to do 2 questions for our panelists, and then we'll just wrap up quickly. Hi, Mercy, did you hear me?
Yes, hi, Oliver. It's not a network issue, it's more of a power issue. So I had to connect through mobile data.
Okay.
So yeah, cybersecurity is more about securing your devices, securing our devices. So we have, and it's a growing field actually, because the more the devices that we have, the more they need protection. So yeah, basically that's just cybersecurity in short. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I hope. Okay, thank you very, very much for that, Mercy. So let me start with the questions I can see here. All right. So the first question, and I think I'll just quickly throw this to Purity, says, hi, so I'm a civil and environmental engineering student currently. My question is, what tech skill is advisable for someone like me studying civil engineering, but also wants to dive into the tech space? And what tech skill is related to civil and environmental engineering? Hi, Purity.
Hello, hi. I
Okay.
think the thing with tech is there's no way to advise someone on which path they can take because it's too wide. Even I myself get confused sometimes because I'm like, oh, but I want to try this, but I want to do machine learning, but I want to do this. So all I could tell you is to just experiment. Like just maybe try it for like a week and see, okay, how do I feel about this? And try the other thing. Read as much as possible about the different fields and then see what you can pursue, because I think there's no tech that's directly related to cybersecurity, to civil engineering or anything like that. What you just need to know is what you would like to pursue rather, because all of it can be linked in some way to any kind of thing that you're doing. So that would be my advice, that just experiment, read and research, follow people on Twitter, see what they're talking about and ask yourself, okay, is that interesting me? And you're like, yeah, I think I'd be interested in that. Yeah.
Okay, awesome advice. Thank you very much. So for whoever asked that question, and also for the question, because I saw some questions about how to get into tech and what skills to learn. So just like Purity has just said, you can, if you first of all, of course, look at your interest, and then you can try experiment. And I think the Women Techsters Bootcamp provides like a very, very awesome avenue for that, because it's a monthly bootcamp. There's 3 week bootcamp that you can do and then still come back again and pick another learning track that you'd like to. But of course, I think any course in STEM, just like Purity said, just make sure you do your research, find out what's important to you, and I'll quickly move to the next question. All right. Someone saying, hi, Kutlano, your advice has been enlightening. I plan on working. Okay, I think you've answered this question already. This question on software engineers and cloud solutions. I think I saw the answer to that. Yeah, you answered it. Okay. So let me see some other questions that hasn't been answered. So someone is asking, I think we can ask the question to TJP. Someone is asking, is product management the same with product design? Is there a link between that? Is there a link between that? And how, I think I saw a particular question. Okay, yes. And then the next question is directed to you. Say that, what do you think made you stand out when you were getting your first job? So those are 2 questions in one.
Yeah, no problem. So is there a difference between product management and product design? Yes. Product management is, around managing the entire life cycle, right? From the design of a project to the development of the engineering to the launching of the product and, the entire life cycle of the project. So it's actually a lot of like managing, a lot of strategy, a lot of like visionary type of work, organizing. There is some part of project management in product management as well. But product design is mostly just around like the designing of the application. So you have your maybe your Instagram, designing how the look and feel of the application, designing the user experience, how people like interact with those elements. That's product design. But as a product manager, there's sort of like a link somehow between the two, because as a product manager, you're sort of in charge of, the entire life cycle. So when it comes to actually like understanding what the customer wants, you have like a lot of input into the design of the product, into like the user experience of the product, because you're the person that understands who your customers are, and you're the person that understands what your customers need. So you do have a lot of interactions with designers, a lot of like review sessions with the designers, and collaborative like brainstorming work to actually come up with like a finalized design of what, is going to eventually be developed by the engineers. So there is that interplay within that. And I'll just quickly add, because I think I saw a question about like coding. It's the same way out, like as a product manager, you're not the person actually coding the work, right? You're just the person that has like the knowledge of exactly what needs to be built. So you're having the conversation with the engineers on how exactly it's going to be built. You're writing the user stories, you're writing the epics, you're developing the roadmap of what the product would look like. Yeah, so that's sort of the difference and the link. Then the second question is, okay, what makes you stand out, I think.
Yes. In job interviews.
No problem. I think essentially my first role, it was an internship. Essentially, I think I was just curious. I was just try to like present exactly, just show my passion for the role, show sort of what I had gained in terms of my knowledge. And that was really what made me, I mean, it was an internship, so like the requirements weren't so much, but generally in my role so far, I think one thing is pretty much like assessed, or something that I always like ensure to stand out in interviews is, first the fact, my product sense, right? And that's sort of what you develop when you have worked on so many products. It's just like your experience, understanding problem solving and things like that, just being able to like show those experiences very well, and capture it and actually communicate that with your interviewer is, very important. And also in products, I mean, people have portfolios, but you don't necessarily have to have a portfolio. But if you do, it's a very good way to actually showcase how you went from managing how a product was actually scoped, which is like maybe talking to customers and trying to understand what they need to, the entire life cycle of it being developed. If you have a portfolio and you can showcase that, that's also like a very important thing that could make you stand out in your job. And essentially another thing that I would say made me stand out is just my or how I communicate about myself is essentially my attention to detail, which is very important as a product manager, because you're involved in quite a number of things, and you being able to keep these pieces together and just pay attention to the little things actually does make a difference between like a successful product and a product that is not going to scale in the market.
Oh, awesome responses. Thank you so very much for that, TJP. I have some questions here that I think I'll just direct this to Kutlano. So I've been seeing some questions about how whether or not you need maths. Do I have to be math savvy, or do I have to like be really good in maths? in order to get into tech. That's one. And then I can also see a question asking about is cloud architecture basically like designing and replicating the company's data in cloud? Like, is that what it is about? So hi Kotlano, could you quickly answer this for us?
Okay, so the first question, no, it's the same as software engineering, right? Unless if you want to do a course, if you're gonna go into computer science, obviously you're gonna look at your math, you're gonna look at how your science and so forth. However, if you had another degree, or even if you don't even have another degree, if you do certifications, they don't test your skills in terms. They don't check rather if you have math or not. They check your technical skills in terms of, do you understand the concept? Do you understand how to pin two resources together? Do you understand how to peer networking? So for example, if you're going to do an Azure administrator or solutions architect exam 305, there might be a question where they ask you, how do you peer two networks together? You know, those type of questions. So it has nothing to do with math. It's the matter of just understanding the product, understanding the logic behind everything. So the answer is no. So when it comes to the second question, please repeat it again so that I make sure I answer it correctly.
Okay. Is it the question on cloud security? Or I didn't.
Oh, in terms of
Hello, I think I lost you for a minute there.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. You were asking to repeat a question.
Yes, the second question. So no, it's fine. I remember it.
Okay.
It's not necessarily replicating what's already on-prem. However, like I mentioned, we used to do a lift and shift where you take it as is and put it as is onto the cloud, but not anymore. Now we are encouraging a modern way of doing things. So you need to understand how the cloud works before you can even have a migration strategy or replicating things as they are on-prem.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. And final round of questions now. Hi, Purity. Someone wants to know what has been your biggest accomplishment as a software engineer?
It's a difficult question. I would say maybe I'll mention two things, even though you asked for one. So the first one is my self-confidence. I would say my biggest accomplishment is how much more confident I've gotten with trusting my mind, trusting my decisions, trusting the things that I'm doing. So I would say that has been a really big accomplishment, because when I started out as a software engineer, of course, because of starting from an untechnical background and all that, I had a lot of self-questioning, imposter syndrome and the like. But I would say that that's a really big achievement for me. And I would say the second one is I was featured as one of the top under 30 women to look out for in tech in Kenya for Africa Science Week. So yeah, that was nice. Yeah, so I would say those are my two big accomplishments. Thank you.
Oh wow, congratulations to that. Yay. Okay, just quickly round up. Hi TJP. So I can see about 4 questions here that I want to try and merge into one question for you. So there's someone who has been asking about how that she's a creative designer for over 5 years, and she has taken a course on product management as well as software development, and they have experience in graphic product design, quite a lot. Quite a lot. So the question basically is there a way that all these skills can be made together to find a particular role that can fit someone with all of these skills? And there's also a question here as to a platform that they can start learning product management. I think we can even answer that on our end. So you just answer the question on, a very robust skill set and how they can measure all that.
No problem. I think that's amazing. And I'm just going to piggyback off like what Purity mentioned on like a similar question, that you cannot actually define somebody's career for them. So it's up to you. It's up to exactly what you're passionate about. I mean, you could find different roles that might combine each of them together, but it's very unique. It's very unique to you and how you exactly actually want to combine things. I think it's very interesting when people have like, all that knowledge on different things. I would say product management because you're kind of like a generalist in so many things. You need that specialist knowledge in product management on different areas. So you might just need to find like roles that are maybe like specific to, you know, product or design, like a more design type of product management role, or a more technical, if it's software engineering, a more technical product manager role. But yet there is no one road to your journey. Explore everything, you know, and actually find exactly what you're passionate about. And I guess that's where like everything lies. Yeah. And then courses, you mentioned, you answered that question, right? About
Yes,
courses.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would
Okay.
also just share.
Go ahead, please.
Okay. As I think one certification that you can get, I think one of the certified certifications in product management is CIPMM, right? So it's a certified product management course that you can always take. But I mean, that's just like a professional certificate. I would encourage, you know, these platforms like Tech for Dev. It's very important to actually gain like hands-on knowledge in groups and things like that, and learn from people. Yeah, for product management. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. And our final question would be to Lano. So, I can see, oh, someone just dropped a question to you. All right. So the question I was going to ask is, person says, very lovely group of ladies. Realistically, how long does it take to land your first job from when you start your tech journey, especially for someone who is taking the self-taught route? And the question directed to you, Lano, is you mentioned earlier that you got your job from LinkedIn. So what would you recommend as the best ways to optimize LinkedIn profile?
Firstly, have a professional picture. It doesn't have to be taken by a professional photographer, but have a picture. It's quite, I think, it's, for me, it's weird for someone to be on LinkedIn and doesn't have a picture, or a weird picture of a flower, or, you know, just have a picture so that people know who they're dealing with. And fill in your bio, right? Speak, especially if you don't have any certification or work experience, fill in your bio and speak about what you are passionate about, because some recruiters are not necessarily enticed by certifications or the kind of work that you've done. They just want to know what's in your mind, especially depending on the role and the level of the role that they're recruiting for. If so, they see that you're passionate about this thing, you have a GitHub repo, put in your link, your link in there so that they know and they can see what you are or you have done. If you do have certifications, link them. As many as they are, link them. Secondly, I'd also advise populate your work experience if you have. If you do have any work experience, populate it. And thirdly, I would also advise that you do LinkedIn learning courses and also post them, right? So if you can't afford to do an Azure certification because it is quite pricey, you can do LinkedIn learning courses, which are for free. And once you've done it, post it so that people see that you're active, especially if you are a job seeker. It's very important for recruiters to see how active you are. Comment on people's work. Follow people that are doing what you want to do. So just type in, for example, if you just want software engineers, type in software engineer and a lot of people will show up. Just follow everyone as much as you can, right? So that you can see whenever they post job opportunities. For example, I post a lot of job opportunities on my page. So it's very important to follow people that are in what you do or interested in what you'd like to do, so that you can see each and every step that they've taken. If there's a new certification for you, it tells you, and they've acquired it, it tells you as a person that's going into that path that, oh, it means that things have changed now. Probably that certification is irrelevant. This is what's in now. So you also stay abreast of what is required or what recruiters and employers are looking for.
All right, thank you very much. I'm just trying to see if I can post the LinkedIn profiles of all of our panelists today. This has been such an amazing session. Thank you so much, TJP. Thank you so much, Purity. Thank you so much, Mercy. I hope you can still hear us. Thank you so much, Lano. This has been such an amazing session. And ladies on the call, I'd like to hear from you. What have you learned today? what has been the most eye drop, the most really awesome thing that you've learned today? What's something that you're taking home with you today? Because I think one major thing that all our speakers and all of our panelists empowered upon is the importance of putting yourself out there, the importance of learning skills, right? Learning transferable skills, the importance of just showing passion. I saw a lot of questions about not being good in mathematical subjects and whether or not that could be a hindrance to getting into tech. And just like you heard the responses of all of our panelists today, what's most important and what's very, very important is the skills and your ability to actually prove yourself when you get there. I think what CJP also spoke about, internships. Just going for volunteering experiences, making use of your social contacts, making use of those around you, letting them know that these are things that you're involved in, and these are things that you would okay, these are things that you would love to do. I can see some people already saying each other is really an eye-opener into the tech world. There is no limit to what can be achieved, and so this is just awesome. So thank you once again to all of our panelists. And just before we say our goodbyes, it is picture time. Yeah, so we'll be taking yes, I always like to say we need some memories for the gram. So we'll be promoting some persons, some of our attendees to panelists. So if you are in a, please listen carefully. If you are in a good environment where you can turn your video on, right? Very limited things in your background that are distracting, please just kindly raise your hand and I would promote you to the panel session. I can already see hands being raised. I'll be promoting you shortly. Please, once you are promoted into the panel session, kindly turn your videos on and just get ready to take pictures with us. Our digital media person's already on the call. Hi, Usman. So if I'm promoting you to panelists, please once just turn your video on so we can take our pictures. All right, I can already see some people's videos being turned on. Awesome, awesome. Okay. All right. How many people do we have? I think we have quite a number of persons. Okay. So so for those also asking as regards recording, as long as you registered for this open day, you would receive a link to the recording of this session to be sent to your mail. So don't worry about it. I can see some people saying, oh, they came late because of school and some other things. We would be sending you the link to the recording. Okay, so I can see quite a number of people are already in the panel session. Are ready for our pictures. All right, so just before we take our pictures, I think I'll just like to quickly walk us through the Women Techsters initiative and what we do here at Tech for Dev and just how beneficial it can be for everyone on this call. So we had a number of questions as regards I want to go into product management, I want to go into cybersecurity, I want to go into software development, and so many of that. And so what we do here at Tech for Dev is so Tech for Dev is a non-profit, and we aim to create access to decent work and entrepreneurship for Africans. And the Women Techsters Initiative is an initiative of Tech for Dev, and we have the ambitious goal of reaching 5 million women in Africa by 2030. And we do that through advocacy platforms such as this, the Women Techsters Open Day, which we are on now, the Tech Girls Drive also, where we go to secondary schools and speak to young girls about the importance of coming into STEM. And so you're here now, you've met, ladies who have gone ahead and started their careers in tech, right? And they've shown you how possibilities, they've spoken about the challenges they face, they've spoken about roadmaps and very important things that can help you get to where you need to get to. And in case you are thinking, all right, what next? Where do I go from here? The Women Techsters Bootcamp is the next place for you to go. So the Women Techsters Bootcamp is a 3-week training where you get to learn hands-on training in cybersecurity, product design, product management, software development, and data science. And unfortunately, the 3.0, the core 3.0 just closed. I think it was just last week that it just closed. But I would advise you to ensure that you're following Tech for Dev on all social media platforms so that you can keep abreast of, whenever there is an opening to one of our programs, and then you can quickly apply for it. So we'll be posting the links to all of our social media platforms on the chat. So please make sure that you're following Tech for Dev. And of course, after the bootcamp, so the bootcamp, like I said, is a 3 week training. I think one of the speakers today spoke about how important it is for you to, if you're not sure what learning track you want to go, what career you want to go into tech, you can just attend bootcamps like ours, where you get to, get hands-on training for like 2-3 weeks. Okay, in data science. You can also come back and get another one in product management or product design. And once you've made up your mind on what career you want to take, then you apply for the Women Techsters Fellowship. Now, the Women Techsters Fellowship is a 1-year program, and it's broken into 6 months of intensive training and 6 months of internship. Unfortunately, for this year, or rather for 2024, the application has closed, and I know quite a number of persons were asking about it. Just make sure just make sure you stay glued to, our social media pages, and you get updates as regards the Women Techsters Fellowship and status of your applications and everything. And of course, lastly, we have the Women Techsters Masterclass, which is usually for women in Africa who have been in the tech space for 6 months and at least 2 to 5 years. And we invite facilitators. It's a 2 days masterclass, and it's very, very intensive. So I can see someone asking about the cohort 3.0. You would get information in due time. Please just make sure that you're following Tech for Them on all social media networks, such that once we put up a post as regards and you've got mail or something, you can see. So hi Usman, are we ready for our pictures?
Hi, Aurea. Yes. Hi, ladies. It has been a fantastic event, and I see that a lot of us have learned so much. So let's just give that a big smile so we can let people know on social media that yes, we are at this event, and it was really amazing. So please smile while we take our digital picture. Thank you.
All right. So during this session, I always like to say we would unmute and say Women in Tech. So if you're on the call, please make sure your video is on and you're ready to unmute and say with me, Women in Tech. Are we ready to go? Are we ready to go? I can't hear anybody.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
All right, awesome. So 3, 2, 1. Women in Tech, everybody.
Women in
Tech.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. I love this. Oh,
thank you very much, and attend to our baby in tech.
All right, thank you very much, everyone. We've come to the end of the August edition of the Women Techsters Open Day, and it has been amazing. Thank you once again, TJP. Thank you, Kutlado. Thank you, Purity. Thank you to our amazing moderator, Mercy. Thank you to everyone who has stayed with us so far. We appreciate it. And of course, we wouldn't be able to do all this without our partners and sponsors here at Tech for Dev. Thank you to Microsoft and Islamic Bank. Thank you for all you do for us. If you're not following us on social media, you should be following us. Please make sure you connect with all of our speakers. I think I'll just quickly post their LinkedIn profiles here on the chat now so that we can get in touch with them. Please make sure you connect with all of our speakers on LinkedIn, and just posted this. Just make sure you connect with them and just let them know how much you learned from them. And would also like to hear from you too, as regards your wins and every other thing that you're doing. But thank you very much. We have come to the end of this session. Do enjoy. Do have a wonderful evening, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Bye.